everybody's got good customer service. Everybody's got good content. Everybody posts to social media. Everybody posts to the MLS. What is your actual value as a realtor? To me, it's accessibility. Just having that, ability to be accessible, I think is the speed to lead. And so my point is that, I'm always posting whatever hits me at that moment, and I just record, upload, post immediately. So do I go to a studio and batch 20 videos? No.
Wow.
I'm posting 3 to 5 times a day.
Wow.
Plus like 20 stories a day.
That's amazing.
So it's literally just execution and doing it. We talk about when God puts things into your mind, into your life.
Yeah.
And, the Holy Spirit's like, do this. And you're like, wow, I better do this. So you do it. Why don't you do that with your content? I don't get it.
Ooh.
People try to dissect it. And if you're unsure, post it as a trial reel first. I've been doing that lately. And that's how I've been getting a lot of my growth over the past 6 months.
All right, welcome to an episode of Real Estate First Technology Unleashed. Super excited. I can't believe we have another person from Canada. Yes, that's correct, Canada. And he actually was just with Shannon Gillette and some amazing powerhouse individuals yesterday with the Awakening Summit here in Central Phoenix. And so today, who do we have? The one and only Andrew on the show. A welcome all the way from Canada.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me, man.
Dude, we've been trying to get this going for a couple of years.
So I know. I mean, we were just talking, off camera, and I think it was 2 years ago. I'm like, listen, I love what you're doing. I forget who reached out to who, but I'm like, listen, Arizona's been on my wish list.
Okay.
And I want to come down and I want to see you. And it just didn't work out. And then the next year I was here for a bachelor party.
Yeah.
I would like typical bachelor parties. You hear they don't leave the bar, you know what I mean? But we didn't leave the golf course. We were golfing for 4 days.
Wow.
Straight. So now this year here for a completely different reason. And glad we can finally connect and make it happen, baby.
Dude, I love it. So we were talking before we got on air. It sounded like you were aligned with Shannon Gillette and the Awakening Summit, and we'll get into your story and technology you're using a little bit later in the show. But it's so prevalent because you're here for this event, and I'm kind of curious, and I'm sure viewers and listeners, if you were there, you know about the event, what happened. You were on a panel. So you reached out, you were resonating with the message, the fact that it was one of the first faith-based events, which is awesome and something super different. Did it at a church, right? They had the band, the church, everything.
Dude, my church is 100 people.
Okay.
And, God bless. They're the ones that took me in first. And I play hockey with all the pastors. It's
oh my God,
it's
so
great.
Cool.
It's great. But wow, you guys do it really big down here. Holy smokes.
The production and everything else is just
I think Shannon was telling me it's got room for 3,200 people.
Wow.
Yeah, and we had over 1,500 people in house.
Wow.
And you know what, dude? I was getting tagged from people in Canada watching on the live stream. So I thought that was super cool too.
Dude, that is super cool. So congratulations to Shannon and all the individuals that went to the event, which is absolutely amazing. Yeah. Glad that she's doing something different. And so maybe next year you'll be one of the keynotes, because this year you're on just the panel, right?
Yeah. And you know what? I had emailed sharing my gratitude from yesterday, and I said, hey, maybe Awaken Canada.
Ooh.
You never know. Who knows? That'd be awesome.
Dude, that'd be sick. I absolutely love that. Yeah. That's awesome. And so the way that they orchestrated the event was very much just kind of like going to church. It felt like the same.
It really did. It really did. And so what I like about contemporary churches is, because growing up, I was never a religious person.
Yeah.
I was always interested, but in Canada, it's if you're not in church, you're I wouldn't say far removed from it, but you don't really know too much.
Yeah.
Where I find it's a lot different in the States, where it's a lot of people grew up in the church. It was just kind of part of their life.
Yeah.
And so I would have friends that were Catholic that would bring me to church, and I'd just be like, oh, okay. This
Yeah.
is all right. So I never had that like live energy, but a lot of the contemporary churches and how they preach is like everyday scenarios.
Hmm.
And that's what this conference felt like, except
I
with a
love that.
business in real estate spin.
Wow, that's so cool. So interesting. Yeah, looking forward to being able to go to one of the events. It sounds absolutely amazing. Schedule didn't permit, so I didn't go yesterday. I can't believe it was just yesterday too. But
Yep.
let's go into a little bit of your story. So you've been in the business for many, many years and lots of ups and downs. You've seen different markets. You're in Canada. What was the catalyst getting into the business from the beginning? Is this like your family was in the business, or are you
Oh,
first generation?
yeah. I think I'm, first generation for most things in my family, to be honest with you.
Really?
But just as we were taking a tour of your house, which is
Yeah.
beautiful, by the way,
Thank you so much.
your gym. You're a big
Ooh.
gym guy.
Yeah, yeah.
So, this is, I'm assuming a lot of Americans who are listening.
Yep.
So LA Fitness. So LA
Mm.
Fitness came to Canada. Oh boy, now it's got to be like 15 years ago now.
Yeah.
But so when LA Fitness first came to Canada, I think they only had one or two clubs,
Mm.
and I was in the music industry.
Ah.
I wouldn't say I was in a dark place in my life, but it definitely wasn't anything purposeful.
Okay.
And so, LA Fitness took me in, and I moved up the ranks like super, super quick.
Wow.
And within 3 months, I went from salesperson to GM.
Wow.
And so GM, I opened my own club in Niagara Falls. And then from there, I moved out west to help run 3 clubs. And
Wow.
so, I learned a lot about Americans, and we could talk about that later, and the
Yeah, yeah.
differences between Americans and Canadians, which, you don't
Mm.
really see on the surface. So, anyways, I was working like 6 days a week,
Wow.
12-hour days, all of that. All of that time and energy, and although I'm blessed to have been there, and it helped shape my business to where it is today,
Yeah, yeah.
but ultimately I was like, dude, I need something that's paying me a little bit more than $25 per sale. You know what I mean?
Even as a GM.
Well, yeah, so the way it works in Canada, at least, is that you got minimum wage
Okay.
plus commission, and then as a GM, you got bonuses depending on if you hit your targets. The
Interesting.
targets were insanely high, by the way.
Hmm.
So I know a lot of the American sales structures is kind of like aim high, and
Yeah.
we appreciate that for sure.
Yeah.
Excuse me, but they were way too high. I think I hit
Crazy.
bonus like once or twice in my professional career, but I was like, man, I need something that pays me more per unit. Right. So it's either cars or it was houses. So I
Okay.
called up a really good friend of mine, Thomas Ferris, his brother, Mark Ferris. It's just, they're in the Florida market now.
Okay.
They're big. They, funny, interesting is in my adult career, he was also the same guy who brought me to church.
Really?
Yeah, as a Christian. So I appreciate that. And then I reached out and I said, hey, listen, man, I'm like thinking about getting into real estate. I get these calls. I'm laughing because I get these calls every day now.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, dude, you will destroy it. He's
I
like,
love that.
You got to be, a part of this industry. So I literally, his testimony was enough for me. And my son was born in Alberta, Canada. We had moved out there, and he was 3 months.
Oh.
And I just said, you know what? Pack up your stuff. We're going back to Ontario.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Wow, dude. That's a freaking awesome story. And then with Canada, it's a little bit different, right? So you get a commission per unit, but the commission structure is different than like here in the States, correct?
It's basically the same.
Basically the same.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know we're not. It's against the rules to talk about averages, but you guys are like averaging like 3%. We were averaging about 2.5% per side.
Okay.
So total of 5. But now everybody's basically doing 4. Reason being is that, when I first started, so it'd be 10 years in November, the average price point was 250 grand. And now it shot up to about $1 million.
Wow.
And then now we're hovering about like 700.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's about making more money.
Well, yeah. And you know what I mean? It's like, there's going to be a lot of people that, hear what I'm up to and probably about what I'm about to say and just kind of be angry about it. But the only thing that hasn't changed really is the commission. Everything else has gone up. And so, there's a lot of hostility right now in Canada from clients to agents and agents. Hey, listen, I get it. Ricky Kruth, he was one of the speakers like, I love that guy, man. Wow.
High energy, huh?
Oh, wow. But like in tough air, like every coach, every really good agent's going to talk about protecting their value.
Yeah.
And I believe in that. But like when your values have shot up 100%, the commission is still the same, and it's a percentage. The percentage is obviously based on the amount of net, right? So,
Yeah.
or sorry, not based on the net, but based like in the seller's mind.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that comes off my net. And in that you're in Canada, like I was saying on stage yesterday, nobody invests there's no 401ks.
Yeah.
A lot of Canadians don't invest in the stock market. They don't invest in businesses. Their home equity is literally, they'll sit on that for 40 years and finally retire.
Interesting.
So who am I to say, hey, listen, I got to take 5% of your total net worth before you retire? Right. So things are changing up there. And, we're working on something really big that does protect our value, but also allows more choice and transparency. Maybe we'll talk about it later.
I like that. I like that. So when you first got into business, the translation, someone's watching, maybe they're in that same line of work. They're a trainer, they're at a gym, they're a GM.
Yep.
How did you find either your niche market or how to reach out to a client set? Was it just your SOI and sphere of influence and friends and family? Like, what did you do to start?
Dude, I moved, I lived in Barrie, Ontario, Innisfil, and I moved to Niagara.
Okay.
And that's it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
So I knew nobody.
Oh my God.
Knew nobody. And so you want to talk about sphere of influence? I didn't have any, man. But
wow.
a good friend of mine, Aaron, we were walking, John Reed's behind the camera, he's filming me today. We were walking to dinner yesterday.
Yeah.
And I'm just like scrolling on my phone, trying not to get hit by a car. And I'm reading, he's like, because I just came from a networking event.
Yeah.
That's what Awaken was. And he's like, networking events he said, bullshit is what he said. Well, I don't know.
Interesting. You're fine. It's unleashed.
And
it's all good.
And I'm like, wow, that's interesting. So it made me want to swipe to his next post. And he's like, don't network, nest. So shout out to Aaron, by the way. And I'm like, oh man, like, wow. I'm like, that's exactly what I do and what I train. We don't do any online advertisements. We don't do buses. We don't do, anything that we spend in advertising. We allocate that to community events.
Ooh.
So, and we're at the same ones every year.
Yeah.
So when he's talking about Nest, I'm like, wow. And so that's how we got majority of our business. So when you're talking about niche as well, to just bring it back, I knew at a very early stage of my career, I'm like, I've got to choose something. Whereas in people in the Awaken conference yesterday were bringing it up, like it's, you have to kind of focus on something that, aligns with your values and B, what you're passionate about. Otherwise, what are you doing?
Boring.
Yeah. And, and they also talked about like, not pushing faith on social media because they're worried about their business. And I'm like, listen, if that's who you want to work and sell for, why
Amen,
would you,
so be it.
why would you care who you actually, disconnect from? That's a good thing. So, excuse me. So early on in my career, I'm like, listen, I just really love agriculture, farms, rural. I grew up in a town like Churchill, Ontario is the actual town.
Okay.
And it was 200 houses.
Wow.
We had a convenience store, but like it kept going out of business. So like if you wanted to go anywhere, it was a 20-minute drive. My point is that I just feel so connected to farms and rural properties and just living, your best life as secluded as possible.
Yeah.
And so when I came out, I stuck to farms. I'm like, I'm your farm guy. I'm your winery guy.
Okay.
And the biggest piece of advice, and I talk about this on stage all the time, is that when you're brand new to real estate or you're brand new to a market, is that you market outside of your market. And everybody's like, I don't get it. I'm like, well, okay. So let's just think about the most recognizable sign you could think of. And I bring up this guy's name all the time, and I don't have a problem with it because he's such a good guy and a great family. But there's a guy, Rob Golfi, where we are.
Okay.
And he does bench ads and bus ads, and he's got his arms out here. He's in a big lawsuit with somebody from the States. He had like a similar thing.
Oh my
And
God.
he's such a great guy. He's got a great team.
Okay.
He do thousands of deals a year. He's under the Remax banner, but he has like his own kind of thing. And I said, listen, you see Rob Golfy's for sale sign and face absolutely everywhere.
Yep.
So if you're in your first year, how are you going to compete with that? People know that where are your signs? You're brand new. People locally know that you're brand new.
Yep.
And again, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with that, but lean in to the people who aren't necessarily aware that it's your first year.
Yeah.
Be as upfront as you want, and that's fine. But yeah, have you ever read The Alter Ego Effect? Todd Herman, dude, super amazing book. If anybody's listening to this podcast and you're in your first year or you're struggling to become something that you've always wanted, but you're just not quite there. Some people call it fake it till you make it, and there's a lot of people that cry about people being fake on social media before they've actually made the money, and there's some truth to that. If you're 10 years in the business and you're marketing yourself as this super cool kind of top producer and you don't do any business, it's different. But in your first couple of years and you need to make a name for yourself, you got to become that person.
Oh yeah.
Who uses the alter ego effect? Michael Jordan. Who also? Tom Brady. You step into the shoes of the person you want to become.
Amen.
And that's not fake it till you make it. It's just literally going with purpose and trying to be a better person. So market out front of your market. Market outside of your market. And that's what I did. I marketed, to every agent I knew. So here's another thing, John and I were talking about, and, agents are going to kill me because, I talk a lot about, meat on the bone.
Yeah.
And the reason why I talk about meat on the bone is because, 90% of my business is agent-to-agent referrals. So my entire career, I've been giving up 25% of my business because of referral fees.
Yep.
And I'm happy to do it.
Yep.
But you know what I mean? It's like, they're like, well, why would you waste time and effort trying to get agents to refer you business? These are the same. I want to be respectful as possible, but these are the same seals that clap and same seagulls that as soon as you type in like, hey guys, I'm looking for a referring agent. And again, this is me too. I'm not I'm not being offensive to anybody, I hope. Yeah. But like in social media groups that are like, hey guys, I've got a client in, Arizona.
Yeah.
Me, pick me. And so like everybody's complaining about, why market to other agents. And I said, dude, that's the easiest business you're going to get. The best business and most qualified leads are the people who are your walking, talking billboards. So if you have another agent that's like, listen, you've got to work with Andrew. He's the best in Niagara. I don't even have to sell myself.
Done.
Yeah.
I love that. So majority of your business is like relocation, people may come from different locations, and then they're just referring you into that location because you're the guy. You're the top, basically 0.1%.
That's right. And so the way it works is Niagara on the Lake is like, the best way I can describe it to the American audience is like, it's like a much lower scale, but super high quality. Like it's like a Hamptons kind of thing, right? We don't have, we have the lake, of course, but it's not it's like very similar style, very similar style. And so this is where people will come from all over and move here.
Wow.
And it's only a town of, Glendale is technically like 19,000, but without Glendale, because it's a little further away, it's about 14,000 people.
Wow, that is not very many people at all.
There's only maybe a couple hundred sales every year.
Wow. And so what got you into, because now looking at your social media, links are down below, you can go ahead and follow Andrew. So what got you into this kind of like more of an influencer, right? You're really building this brand and the content you put out there. And first thing that I think about when I think about you is luxury.
Oh, wow. Thanks.
That's the first thing that comes to my mind.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah, from the look, the feel, the vibe on the social media. So what was the catalyst to get into the whole social media side, utilizing technology to differentiate yourself there?
Well, listen, man, I remember early 90s making skate videos. just like skateboarding and being with my friends and making videos, making skits. And then I was a recording artist, for a decade and a half before I even got into the real estate industry. And like it was, it was performative, right? So I'm on stage, I'm making skits. Grew up listening to Blink-182. So we would. Okay, I'm not going to say it, but let's just say, we weren't as vulgar as Tom and Mark up on stage, but it was always such a fun thing for me to be in front of the camera and make these home videos and do these TV appearances. And so I'm like, wow, like nobody on social media is doing this. And I'll give another shout out to, Emily Perrie, who is with EXP in Niagara. And she actually just won over one of my top agents. So I just got the news yesterday. And so shout out to Maria and on her new venture with Emily Perrie. But so when I first started, Emily Perrie and the Perrie team, they were like the first people in Niagara to do video. And like one of the only. And so I'm like, wow, that's interesting. And I can't really remember if she was on camera or not, but it was like the first kind of like, montage of the house and stuff like that. And I said, why aren't more people doing this? Like, I don't get it. And so, oh wow. So I hate, I'm going to be as humble as possible. But you can go to YouTube and check out 10 years ago, my first videos. And man, like I bought a camera, like, this is before cell phones were like super, super high quality. So I bought a camera and I'm like, you know what? I can do this way better than anybody else. And at the time, I did. I smoked everybody because of how I built it. But you look back now, you're like, wow. Like, why was sepia filter on every one of his videos? And so I just created, content from a very, 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 my first listing had content. Wow. And, I had a selfie stick, and I was doing live videos. And that's how it all happened. I said, the only way to reach the most amount of people possible was and still is through video content. And so that's exactly how I did it is just like, I've got to focus on being as loud as possible. I reached out to everybody. Like, this is what I don't understand. How agents are so friggin' lazy these days. I don't understand. And it's only because I think it's because like they're like, well, I have social media and there's just so much going on. I just don't know what to do with it. Maybe that's the problem. Or like I feel a lot of people don't want to, and maybe it's inferiority complex or something. But like I messaged everybody that I knew, even if they weren't in my sales area, and said, please share this video. Like I just got into real estate. Here's my intro video. My intro video was friggin' hilarious, man. Like, we called it boxing out the competition, and I did like a Michael Scott kind of thing, like The Office. And like it was all, I said, my videographer at the time, I said, listen, I want you to do all handheld. I want you to do zoom ins, punch ins, and like it was just so funny, man. My god, it was such a good video. And I wish where I got the ideas. Like, do you remember Dollar Beard Club? My friend Alex was part owner in that company. They started that like Old Spice, one shot. It wasn't one shot, but it was like the guy was the focal point, and as he's walking, like scenes are changing behind him. So that was the idea behind the video, and it just blew up. And I said, "This is amazing," and I got to stick with it.
Wow, dude! Congratulations. That is awesome, and it's so true. It's like you got to be your biggest fan. Get on the mountaintops, scream. This is who I am. I would love to be of service. Like, and as soon as you do something different that differentiates you, then it's undeniable, right? Like, majority of the keynote speakers yesterday, the only reason why they're keynote speakers is because they're undeniable, doing something, being unapologetically them. And then Shannon probably saw it and said, hey, I need to get them on the stage. Plus, they obviously are probably faith-based as well. And so it just worked together holistically. And so I love that. I love that. And the crazy thing is, too, is there's not that many individuals on the mortgage side that specifically does what you do. you do something so different that I feel like that a lot of agents out there, a lot of mortgage professionals out there don't even touch on.
Yeah.
And they want to work with the agents, but they're not differentiating themselves. They have no social media presence, not doing anything on video. And one thing that I think is missing too, especially more in a bigger market, is, and I'm going to talk to an individual on Friday who was on our podcast, who's on the lender side. He's in, I want to say he's in like LA, Beverly Hills.
Yep.
It's like, why not be the person educating the market? Educate the market, bring in the leads, pick any goddamn agent you want. That's just reverse engineering the fact that, like, yeah, you can go after agents what you're doing and you've done an amazing job of it. Yeah. And you potentially can go after just the general market. There's SEO. There's a lot of people doing YouTube now, this whole passive prospecting thing.
Amazing, yeah.
They're like showing the area and everything else. We actually have an agent in Niagara who is on the on our show, who's on YouTube, and I have his sweater in my closet and his hat he sent me over too. So when you're talking, and I'm like, oh my god, who is his name? John. I got to remember his name. 600 episodes later, it's kind of hard to remember everyone. but no, that is absolutely amazing. And so for you, like work-life balance, how do you balance everything? Like from the filming of the content, having a family, working with the agent, do you take the weekends off? You used to work so much to now, how does your schedule look?
That's a really good, one of the, blessings of my business is that, it's so funny, I tell everybody this, is you come to my client parties, and everybody's got gray hair. So a lot of my clients are, 60 plus. And I love it. I love it. And, when I first started out, it's so funny to see as you age, when I first started out, I shaved, I looked a lot, I was fatter, but I still looked a little younger. And, people would treat you different as a younger kid. And then like, to just see that evolution of how people treat you as you grow older. And anyways, that's a little sidebar there, but so all of my clients, like, it just naturally worked out so beautifully where they're always available during the day.
Perfect.
Right? Most agents have to show properties when people are off work, nights and weekends. And so I don't work nights and weekends. And I'm not like, super structured and protective of my time but like for referrals and close clients, I will work nights and weekends, but ultimately I'm home, at 4 o'clock or just before. Nice. And I'm able to get the kids off the bus. And then I've got 4 kids and they all play hockey. So I'm off on weekends.
Wow, that's awesome. How old are the kids?
One just turned 10, Hudson, and Keaton is 5, Jagger is 4, and Cruz is 10 months.
Dude, that is awesome. Do they ever ask Dad, like, what do you do for work and how does it work? And do you ever talk to them about it?
Oh yeah, man. Like my son, I was gonna say he was such a beautiful child. He is a beautiful child, but he had these long blonde curly locks, and I still remember when we first opened our office in Niagara Lake. He was so cute. We filmed it so you could find the video, and he's like, hi, my name is Hudson Perrie, and when I grow up I want to be a Revel Realty man.
Aw.
It was so cute, man. So yeah, ideally, well, the kids can do whatever they want, but ideally they're all going to come and work on the family business, and whatever that looks like in 10 years or 15 years. I
love
don't know, but they'll be with us for sure.
Is your wife also involved?
No, she is she's a teacher, but
oh, so is mine,
right? But she's been pregnant the whole time we've been together, basically.
Yeah.
So she's been a wonderful support system, and she's a stay-at-home mom right now.
Nice.
And it's just so funny because every time she goes back to work, she gets pregnant.
Oh my god!
The principal at she worked at a small private Montessori school, and it's just like every time she goes back, the principal's like, "Are you gonna get pregnant again?" Or and she's, "No, of course not. Wow, what?" And then, yep, sorry. So for our sanity, I think we'll just keep her home.
Yeah, just keep it simple. Just keep it simple. Wow, man, that is awesome. That's cool that you have her to support you, and then you can do what you do on your side. And so, for anyone out there, like mortgage side, how do you articulate the content you film? Like, what's the intentionality behind that? Like, do you have a filming schedule, specific way that you like to film, days of the week that you do film? How does that work?
Yeah, so I wish, man, I could sit here and say that Excuse me.
Because you have one of your guys with you right now.
Yeah, well, you know what? John actually reached out to me. He said, "Hey, I heard you're speaking at the Awaken Summit. I'd love to come
Really?
and film." Yeah,
Shout out
yeah,
John. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. And he's just participating in Ash Wednesday. I'm just looking at him with his ash on his
I
forehead.
know. I love
It's
it.
amazing. So, he just felt connected to come, and I'm happy that he did. So,
Nice.
but I wish I had like a structure to
Yeah.
tell you guys,
Yeah.
but I think that's the tip in itself is like, listen, you don't need any of it.
Yeah.
Sure. Does it help
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
like batch content? Yeah, absolutely. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't have anybody running my social media.
Really?
Everybody is like, dude, how do you respond like AI fast? And I'm like, well, listen, I talked about this on stage. Is like, it's not everybody's got good customer service. Everybody's got good content. Everybody posts to social media. Everybody posts to the MLS. What is your actual value as a realtor? And to
Mm.
me, it's accessibility
Mm-hmm.
and just having that, ability to be accessible. I think is the speed to lead, right? So, anyways,
100%.
and so my point is that I'm always posting
Mm-hmm.
whatever hits me at that
Mm.
moment, and I just
Mm.
record, upload, post immediately. So do I go to a studio and batch 20 videos? No, but I'm still
Wow.
posting 3 to 5 times a day,
Wow.
plus like 20 stories a day.
That's amazing.
So it's literally just execution and doing it. So like, we talk about when God puts things into your mind, into your life,
Yeah.
and the Holy Spirit's like, do this. And you're like, wow, I better do this. So you do it. Why don't you do that with your content? I don't get it. People
Ooh.
try to like dissect it. And if you're unsure, post it as a trial reel first. I've been doing
Yeah.
that lately. And that's how I've been getting a lot of my growth over the past 6 months.
Really?
Yeah. Trial
Wow.
reels.
I'm right there with you because on the personal side, I do a lot of car content and gym, car, fitness, stuff like that. Fasting, I'm on a 36-hour fast right now. And then I'll do something super simple. Going to see a client and I see a guy, he's like filming the car. So I film him filming the car in the
Yep.
rearview mirror. Boom. And it hits like 10, 15,000 views.
Yeah.
Taking my wife to lunch, we're driving onto the on-ramp and she was trying to say something about a chiropractor. And then she stopped for a second because I like to do my pulls on the freeway. And then that hit like 200,000 views.
Yeah.
And it's
Crazy,
like
right?
something so simple, but I also have 2 podcasts, 4 Instagrams. I do film content on Mondays
Yep.
for so Wednesdays is for this podcast, Fridays for my other podcast, Mondays for the other YouTube channel, and then now I'm doing street interview content, and I'll be filming that on Fridays. So
Sweet.
so
I've noticed the street interviews. Those are awesome.
have you seen it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nice, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my intention is because when you're a marketing company, it's a little bit different. It's not like, like who you saw on stage yesterday. None of them really have marketing companies. They're either in the business, they're a mortgage professional, real estate professional, someone who's
Yep.
in the business, specifically a coach. And so my intention is to say, fuck that. I'm going to break the system.
Yeah.
And what I've learned too in marketing is like there's patterns. And if you could break the pattern interruption, then that's
Yes.
when you start having more success with the process. And so
Definitely.
next year, Shannon's going to ask me to be on stage.
Wow.
That's what's going to happen because she's going to see from the short form content the virality. And
Yeah.
as we go viral, because I even actually I went on her website and I did an audit on her website.
Yeah.
It's great, luxury presence, everything.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks that's the best way to go. I'm not here to say nothing about luxury presence, just saying that like we do a lot of the passive prospecting and a lot of the area content with coverage maps and downloadables and like
Yes.
actually being able to save you time with intake forms that people could like go through and get pre-qualified. So
Yeah.
we have a lot of agents that have lenders like you on our websites. And so that's my thing. So I'm glad that you saw the street content and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
interview stuff
Yeah.
because it means it's working. And I hate ads and I don't want to be
Yeah.
that company.
Yeah.
I want to be organic, and
Yep.
that's how we connected, right? We don't even do business or anything together. It's just keeping tabs on each other personally
Yeah.
and because of the podcast. And now you're here at my personal house and we're building on this freaking
That's
relationship.
right, man. Yeah, absolutely. The best thing, and I posted this a couple of days ago. I finally hit. It was just under. It was about just over. Sorry, 1.2 million reach.
Nice.
And
Congratulations.
yeah, thank you. And it's 0%. It's so good to see 0% ads
Yes.
from ads. You know that little tag, the thing below the reach, and I'm like,
Yes.
see, like that makes me feel really, really good. You
Yes.
know, at the beginning, like maybe it's because of that whole Apple thing,
Yeah.
where Apple charges you to advertise on Meta.
Oh,
You know that?
yeah.
So I think that's why I just stopped doing it, because in the beginning I did boost a lot of content,
Okay.
and but then afterwards it was just like, what I was like, what's the point of that? Like,
Yeah.
unless you have a call to action, like, right?
Yeah.
But other than that, like, I was like, it was just vanity. So I started creating content that actually people wanted to watch, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to creating content that was just like, we were talking about this on stage as well. It's like, you don't do trial reels for any of your real estate stuff,
Yeah.
because people are. I just find that real estate content,
Mm-hmm.
although a lot of it is, people want to watch it and say, "Oh, that's a really cool house," but a lot of it is just, it's just
Mm-hmm.
there. It's just there because you
Mm-hmm.
have to, right? And where people just they don't want to watch your listing videos anymore.
No. And that's, I feel like, going back to the event yesterday, Shannon Gillette built her audience first. And she built her audience and she's
Yeah,
doing something to differentiate herself. And so once she had the calling from the Lord to like go in and do this Awakening Summit, it
yeah,
was a completely in alignment and it was like a no-brainer, which is just absolutely amazing.
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes I feel like, is she real? Like she's so
Totally.
like she is so on like a tempo when she does her stuff.
Yeah,
It's almost canny. You're almost like, holy cow!
yeah.
Like, and you met her in person. Was she pretty chill?
She was amazing.
Yeah.
And honestly, her husband Dave, wow, what a super nice guy. He just
Really?
made me feel super comfortable. Shannon did too, of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, just seeing them operate together was just incredibly
Oh,
inspiring.
so he is behind the scenes helping.
Oh yeah, he was even on stage. He's got his. I'm gonna mess this up, but he has. He has his own charity foundation and stuff like that, where he
Nice.
helps people through the adoption and foster process.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And he was up speaking about it, and we just met for the first time in person, and he just like completely opens up and talks about his experience of how he was saved. I'm like, well, this is intense. Everybody here is just so nice that I just felt so comfortable and just like, immediately a part of the Awakened family.
Wow, dude, that is freaking
Yeah,
awesome. I
yeah,
absolutely love that. So, for individuals watching in the mortgage space in the States, what are some things that you would say advice wise you would give them to start to like have more success within their business? Some
yeah,
things that you've done that you could say, hey, this is what I've done, take it or leave it, and this is what's worked
yeah.
for me.
So for mortgage brokers, like, I hate to say it, guys, but nobody cares about your $200 referral fee. Like, we just don't. 500 bucks, travel vouchers, this and that. We don't. The best way to get business is to give business. It's so
Mm.
funny. Best way to get a referral is to give a referral. So it's so funny how they're always trying to, and I work with some great ones, by the
Hmm.
way, but it's just so funny how they're always trying to, like, hey, you know what, like, make sure, like, when you meet a client for the first time, you bring me up. I'd love to be, that level of support. But
Mm.
it's like, I'm like, do you guys do that? Do
Mm.
you, when you first meet somebody, say, okay, well, here's my network of people, here's my insurance guy, here's my renovation guy, oh,
Yeah.
and by the way, here's our realtor, he's gonna be blah 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 blah. And I know it's difficult because multiple agents use one mortgage broker, and
Hmm.
it's difficult for one mortgage broker to use multiple agents. And I
Mm.
get that and I understand it, but if you make intentional changes to your business where you're bringing up the agent that you want to work with,
Hmm.
you're going to do, like, listen, you team up with the top agent.
Yeah.
If that top agent's doing 100 deals a year, there's your 100 deals a year,
You're good.
right? So
Hmm.
stop chasing 100 agents, team up with one of the ones you could find. And how you approach them is you work your butt off
Mm.
trying to find one of your approvals to get an interview with your realtor.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I've got a client for you. That's the best way.
I absolutely love that. We actually had Angela on the show. She was in the hot seat just a few weeks back,
Yep.
and she built her entire business off her vendor partners. So she spent a year and a half meeting all of her vendor partners at a local coffee shop,
Yep.
and they just came in all throughout the day. And
Yep.
she sat down with them, and she said, "I want you to be the person I use for painting. I want you to be the person
Yes.
who's going to take care of pools. I need
That's right.
you to be the person that's going to be the solar, the ATT, whatever it is, home security system. And she built this network, then turned it into events. And then her whole entire business
Thank you.
is just off referrals of her, basically, all the people that she facilitates to help with the home sale
That's
or
right.
home buyer. And then
That's
she
right.
gives her clients, here's the comprehensive list. And then, and then she takes it to the next step where I was talking to her about like, interview them interview them, put them on your social media, put
That's
them on
right.
your YouTube channel. And then when you need someone or your client needs someone, you're like, oh, I got that person, bug person, no worries. I actually interviewed them. Here's the connection. Here's the interview. You want to listen or watch it when you're going to the gym, sitting in traffic? Go ahead.
Yeah.
And so she's built this personal touch type opportunity,
Yeah.
and it's made a significant difference in her business. And she does
Mhm.
like 75 to 80 transactions a year.
See, that's what it's all about, man. And it goes back to that nest, not network. Like, have some damn loyalty
Yes.
and like stop chasing everybody. And just try to provide value to a handful of people, and just consistently do that.
I
That's
love that. I
yeah,
love that. So basically, now what you've done is you've used your social media, you built this following, you have these agents, and so now they're just like your raving fans.
yeah,
Like
absolutely.
you're the celebrity, like they're your fans, and then so you speed to lead, like you're waiting for the DM, not waiting, but
Yeah, yeah.
you're getting DMs every day.
That's right. Every day, every day. And um the cool thing is that although do we always ask, "Hey, how did you hear about us?" This and that. But
Mm-hmm.
like the cool thing is that although ROI can't be directly 100%, targeted back to your social media,
Yeah.
it is so huge that you can build. And again, it's not about faking it till you make it. It's
Mm.
about building the business you want.
Yeah.
I've created the brand that I want
Mm-hmm.
people to think of when they
Mm-hmm.
see me or think of me. And and that's how you change your life.
Oh my God.
Like what do you want to say? Like, hey, I'm a skinny punk kid with tattoos and I listen to emo music and I want to be the best realtor in Niagara on the Lake of, where everybody's 60 plus. No. Can I skateboard with my shirt off and tag Blink-182? Yet now I can. Yeah. But for a long time, I had to wear a suit. I had to show up every day as a friggin' professional.
Yeah.
And I had to build the brand around what I needed people to see.
Mm.
And now that I have the audience, you talked about Shannon building her audience first. That's exactly what I do. Now I
Mm.
can be myself because people understand that although I'm myself,
Mm.
that's another, you know, the whole be authentic. I get it. I get it. And you don't want to, put on a fake persona.
Yeah.
But if I was authentically myself all the
Mm-hmm.
time,
Mm-hmm.
I'd have no clients. Like
Mm.
you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Think about all those. So I think it's
Mm.
inauthentic to tell people that, oh, I'm authentic. I'm like, no,
Mm-hmm.
you're not. Like,
Mm.
post what you think.
Mm.
I would love to see it. And that's not and that's everybody in the world has a
Mhm.
little bit of a dark side, has a little bit of negativity, has a little bit of,
Mhm.
oh, I shouldn't have said that. And
Mhm.
so obviously you're not 100% authentic.
Mm.
So why not build the brand? Like a brand is a brand. It didn't just, you didn't create a brand at birth.
Yeah.
You had to create a brand. So what do you want your brand to be? Well,
Mm.
I want it to be XXX. And that's how you build your brand on social media as well.
Mm.
And that's the best tip. How people can like, oh well, I don't want to post this video because I feel like, it's not me. Okay,
Mm.
good. If it's not you, that's fine. Does
Mm.
it align with your brand? Yes.
Mhm.
Okay, well then that's your brand. So go post it.
Yeah, very, very, very interesting. Would love to get your feedback in the comments down below. And, I can say that some of the videos that I post that are like maybe head talk, saying what I want to say, they'll get a couple hundred views.
Yeah.
But then the content that I post around the cars or the car shows or whatever else, they get a lot more views, hundreds of thousands of views. And
Yep.
so just like the head talk content, like or not content, going in street interview content, it's like hearing what other people have to say, and like that's why I show up with the bow tie and suit, because typically I do now just for special occasions. I've worked 11 years in the industry, so now I'm a little bit more relaxed.
Yeah.
Right, 'cause you said you built the brand. Now you're like, hey, I could, whatever. Now I am who I am, and people know me. They like me. They trust me, and now I could just like I can hang loose a little bit here.
That's right.
And so that's exactly what I'm doing too, as far as from I can relate to you on that. And it's interesting to see what hits, what doesn't hit. It's interesting to see what people are doing. And I don't know, I was talking to my sister-in-law and she's in the business as well. And she's totally just like got off her way. I'm just like, I had to have a heart to heart with her. I'm like, what
Yeah.
are you doing? Like
Yeah, I
you
know.
you know what your brand is. You know what you want to do. Why are you doing something that you're not committed to going back into teaching when you're a real estate professional? You want
Yeah.
to do 25 days deals this year. You need what? 5 more to quit the freaking substitute teaching? Let's get to 5 more.
Of course. Yeah.
What do you need to do? You're doing move up content, move down content. You got big homes behind where you live. Go start canvassing, start putting out content, car content, like you're sitting in traffic, start filming.
That's
It's
right.
so
Yeah.
interesting how people have these barriers and they just totally forget, like, hello, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then they hate their lives.
Yeah.
They don't take control of it. They don't build a brand. So then they can have the nice things, do what they want to do, travel
Yeah.
the world, be in another country on a podcast,
That's right.
getting on stage.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah. It's I don't know. It's hard to describe to somebody who just truly doesn't get it.
Yeah.
But there's something too to like, you know, even if you do go full authentic, I see
Mm.
people do this all the time and they'll just start ranting.
Mm-hmm.
Like, unless your brand, like Ron Butler is a mortgage person. So if any mortgages, you
Mm.
keep bringing that up, go watch Ron Butler from
Mm.
Canada. And that's his business is ranting.
Really?
That's his business. And it's so good because he's smart, he's articulate, he swears, and he's like this old, bigger guy.
Yeah.
And he's just, oh my gosh.
Well, look at the broke agent. Look at Matt Latinetti. Like they don't
Yeah.
give a shit. They're just
Matt and Eddie is a really good friend of mine.
yeah.
You
He's
know,
been on the show.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
we're from the same area, and we have, we both have tattoos. We're both in punk bands, and it's just like, what he's the guy that everything that I say don't do, he does, but
That's his brand.
he does it so good
Yeah.
that I'm like so like every time he posts a video, I'm like, yes, I get so excited because I know it's gonna be good. He does it so well. And so that's my point is like, it's like don't force yourself to rant because you feel compelled about a certain subject.
Yeah.
If you don't do it right, you just come off looking bitter.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
look at this real estate agent who makes, $10,000, $20,000, $50,000 per deal crying about something.
Mm.
Like nobody cares.
No.
Nobody cares, man.
No.
And that's where I think the industry is going as well. Is like, ever since the NAR thing, I don't know how you Americans. I don't have a lot of conversations about that particular subject.
Yeah.
But I remember at the beginning how nervous everybody was, and I don't know, I don't really know the particulars of it, but to me, that was like I haven't seen any or heard any of my friends left the industry because of.
No.
But where I'm going with this is that there's a big shift in the industry.
Yeah.
It's like buyer agents never existed in Canada until like mid '90s,
Wow.
right? So
Yeah.
you went to the listing agent. John's from the UK. UK has estate agents. They get roughly 1% or they get flat fees, and you just represent the property, and the buyers come to you. You don't. You buy cars.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have to use a car broker in order to bring you to a Mercedes dealership? No.
No.
You go to Mercedes and you work with Mercedes.
Yeah.
And so I get why a buyer realtor is important, but in Canada, we only have 5-year mortgage terms. So no matter what, you have to renew every 5 years.
No shit.
And so what happens when you have to renew every 5 years?
They call you up.
Well, yeah, but they're also like, dude, I got to get a new mortgage. Why don't I just get a new house? Usually over the last 50 years, appreciation's been roughly 5%. And then obviously in the last 10 years, it's jumped crazy.
Yeah.
But it's also come down crazy. So what happens is they move every 5 years.
Yeah.
Roughly every 3 years.
So you're never locked in then, not like the States, because
Well, if you lock into, 2%, in
Does
people in
that
the States don't want to move because
Yeah,
now it's 8%.
that's where I'm at. I'm at 2.75 with this
Yeah.
house, and believe it or not, it's like $1,700 a month. And I'm making $6,000 just off of just arbitrage, just like doing the Airbnb
Yeah.
hacking, you know?
It's
So
crazy.
that's
And so,
interesting.
yeah, and so what happens is that buyers have way more buyers and sellers in Canada have way more experience than your average,
Mm,
realtor to some degree.
yeah.
Where it's like, listen, do they really need a buyer's agent for majority of the deals?
Mm,
No,
mm-mm,
they don't. Because
mm-mm.
if you think about have an honest conversation with yourself, and excuse me, the reason why I'm bringing this up
Yeah.
is not to say, hey, you buyer agent, you're worthless. What I'm saying is you need to genuinely find your value and
Mm-hmm.
find what you specialize in, because in the next 2 to 5 years, if you don't, you're going to be replaced.
Oh my God.
Either your clients are all going to be absorbed by bigger teams and bigger agents,
Yep.
or they'll just going to go straight to AI and not use you at all.
100%. And that's exactly on the Liftoff agent side, we're almost at 500 that we serve across the country, and we only focus on the top 1%. And that's no disrespect to anyone who's below the top 1%. And if you want
Right.
to get there, cool, we'll work with you because that's what's happening. If you're not educating the individuals, and it's not so much about the listings anymore, it's about like, where am I going to play golf?
Yep.
Where's
The
the
lifestyle.
airport?
Yes.
Lifestyle. So lifestyle is becoming a huge thing in today's marketplace. And I gotta say, I'm very fortunate to be directly positioned for lifestyle. And
That's
that's
right.
what we do. We help agents build a lifestyle brand
That's right.
and show the coverage area and then be able to add more value from that perspective. So when then you go on ChatGPT and you
Yeah.
have enough video to blog and content on your website, then ChatGPT will pull that content from your website or the
Mhm.
blogs and then your videos and then represent you and say, hey, you need to work with so and so
That's right.
agent or mortgage or whoever because of all the stuff you put out there. Because at the end of the day, AI is only pulling what's online. And so that's
Correct.
where I feel like if you're a buyer's agent, you really need to think about what you're doing to then push the envelope where a lot of these YouTubers are buyer agents. And not to
Right.
say that you can't sell on YouTube as well. You can. It's all about how you position the
Yeah.
conversation. But yeah, I understand exactly.
But listen to this. In 5 years, the only buyer agents that will exist are going to be those who specialize in luxury,
Mm,
commercial, investments,
mm,
maybe, excuse me, maybe first time home buyers.
yeah.
But and I do genuinely believe that it's going to be a pay per service in the next 5 years.
Mm,
You're not going to have a buyer agent as you know it today. Where, because you
interesting.
think about it, we're the only industry where, like, you don't rely on this for your to make your entire career, but we're the only industry where you could not sell anything,
Mm,
and you get a random phone call or a random lead, and next thing you know, boom, I just made 20K.
yeah.
And so until that trade off of value
Mm,
versus what people are getting paid, and again, I understand I've got $400,000 in
mm,
outstanding marketing from over 50 listings that haven't sold yet. So
mm.
yeah, I understand percentages. I understand why we get paid the way we do, but guess who doesn't?
Consumer.
Consumer. They don't care.
Yeah.
All they see is like, okay, this guy put a for sale sign in the front lawn. They put it online. They sold it. They made 20K.
Mm-hmm.
That's all they see.
Mm-hmm.
And although we all know that we've done a lot of work in the background,
Oh my
but think
God.
about the buyers. So the buyer, I tell all our buyer agents, I say, listen, if the client
Mm-hmm.
sends you a house
Mm.
that they want to see, you've failed.
Mm.
You should be, and if you set them up on auto emails, guess what? They are going to feel, the buyers are going to feel like they selected the house because you sent an auto email
Yep.
with multiple listings and
Yep.
they're going to choose it.
Yep.
And so where a buyer agent is really going to excel and where their value is they, hey, John, I don't know if this is for you, but based on everything we've seen so far, I feel like this property is going to fit for you. And I also feel that based on that one that is sold for 500, even though it's listed at 6, this one's listed at 575
Mm-hmm.
and has one less bedroom. I think we can get it for,
Mm-hmm.
499. And here's what your utility bills are going to look like. Here's what your monthly cost is going to look like. And they're either going to say, hey, wow, thanks for all this, but I don't think I like the house. Or thanks for all this. Let's book a tour.
Yep.
And so if you're not doing that,
Yeah.
The buyers are automatically going to feel like, why did this guy just get paid 20K for literally opening the door? And so
Yes.
until you can, work on structuring a proper value add purposeful business, you're replaceable.
Dude, 100%. So going back to, you talked a little bit about the buyer broker agreement.
Yep.
So that elevated on the buy side the standard procedures and the key performance indicators for the income producing activities of the buyer agent, and them actually needing to sit down and set the expectation. The problem is when you go through the licensing, and depending on what broker you go with, they do maybe not give you the training, the sufficient training that you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Like what you just went through, I think whoever was just like, rewind that, okay? Take down the notes on every single thing that you just said, because Andrew just hit the nail on the head. That is your standard operating procedure when working with the buyer to add more value so you can justify, not even that you need to justify your actual commission.
Yep.
It's just that you need to standardize the business itself. And that's where I
Right.
feel like the problem is, and you already know this, right? So 90% of the business is done by the top 10% of real estate professionals that actually take the business seriously. Now, out of the 1,500 people that were in the room at yesterday's summit, there's only going to be the top 10% that are actually going to do anything. Maybe the top 1 to 5% that will actually take action and do exactly what was said at that event. A lot of them just went because, it was FOMO, or they liked one of the keynote speakers,
Yep.
or they had that time available, or they just sold a transaction and they're like, oh my God, I need to go to this because it's going to help me with my business.
Yep.
They know shit. Then they find themselves just repeating over and over and over again. If you don't know, the definition of insanity is repeating the same thing over again, trying to expect a different outcome. And that's exactly why this podcast is here, and exactly why I'm in this industry, is because setting that tone
Yep.
and having a different level of awareness. Because you said about events, you nest, you don't network. I don't have time to nest because I'm so fucking busy.
Yep.
That's also why I didn't go to the event too,
Yep.
because you have to guard your time. You got to make
Of
sure you
course.
know where your time is going to be most valuable. Hey, I want the keynotes to come here to my personal residence and get on my podcast from that event. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I love that. I love that. So rewind and take some notes. That was
Yeah.
powerful, dude.
Yeah, well, listen, again, this isn't to devalue, this is all about, revalue, like adding value, and eh, everything that you think is valuable in a buyer's agent
Mm.
can all be done on ChatGPT within 30 seconds.
Well, that would be the worst when your client, because you're not leading up to expectations, because no expectations was set, goes on ChatGPT and puts in a prompt. What should be the standard operating procedure for or from my buyer agent? What should I be expecting, and what do they need to be doing?
Yep.
And then when they
Dude,
call you
I've
out,
already had that.
oh, you did?
Where they've sent me, buyers and sellers sent me what was clearly a ChatGPT response.
Oh shit!
Yeah, and these are people like in their 50s and 60s. So don't think.
Whoa.
Listen, like, you think, what's below us? Gen Z?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then,
Yeah.
like, whatever. Anyways, doesn't matter. Everybody younger than us,
Mm-hmm.
I'm 39 this year. So everybody younger than us is already doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just going to, even if they don't, like, they're not disrespecting agents, like, if they just might not even think about it and just say, oh, well, ChatGPT told me to just, approach the listing agent, and here's my terms. Like, right? So a good buyer agent, yeah, sure, will know about homes values, will know if there's a development coming up behind you, et cetera, et cetera.
Yep.
But ultimately, especially in Canada, I'm sure it works the same in the States. When you buy that house, you're buying it as is. And so there's really, it's the whole thing. Like, now I need a home inspector. That inspector can really just takes a look around, and they can't really do too much, and they're protected, so they can kind of say anything.
Yeah.
And then the buyer agent is just standing there like, yep, yeah, furnace, yeah, might be 16 years old.
Yep.
It's if that is your only value as a buyer agent, you really need to reconsider your either career choice or how you're going to add value back to the client to make them actually want to hire you.
100%. And going back to the prior conversation about how we had Angela on the show and she had all these relationships with her vendors. You want to add value as a buyer agent, build all those vendor relationships, And then when you had the inspector pull the report, so my wife and I, quick story, did about 8 flips the last past year and a half.
Nice.
We got out of it because it was a time suck. It didn't make sense.
Yeah.
It was a great conversation piece. We learned a lot. We thought we could make a bunch. The market shifted. Canadian dollar to the American dollar sucked. We have a lot of snowbirds here too in Arizona, as you probably know.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And so, long story short, you build all those relationships. You go in and you're going through the process. You get the inspector to the inspection. You could say, I already have everyone you need to fix that crack, the leak, the paint, whatever, the foundation. And then the cool thing could be is that, like you said earlier, you want a referral, give a referral. You don't think that your vendor partner is going to give you a referral because you just gave a referral because you just went through a transaction with the home. I mean, you talk about the compound effect. It's another really good book to read too. Dude, you're off to the races. And as soon as you have 10, 15, 20, 30 deals and you have all these relationships built, it's just going to be autopilot all day long.
And I definitely agree with that. And the only thing that has changed, however, is AI in technology. And so don't for a second think that just because you have really good clients who refer you, they show up to all of your events, oh boy. I hope that they're not going to watch this, but I genuinely respect and appreciate their decision. But we had a buyer that we bought their first house.
Okay.
Since then, he met a woman,
Mm-hmm.
fell in love.
Mm-hmm.
This is a Christian guy.
Mm-hmm.
They had a baby. They had another baby.
Mm.
Guess who was there? For every birthday, every holiday, every birth, wedding, me. I was there.
Yeah.
I gave them a card. I called them. I shared my enthusiasm and genuine appreciation and happiness for how their life was going.
Wow.
And they used another realtor this year.
Wow.
And I'm the best at what I do. I genuinely am the best at what I do, from maintaining my relationships and providing as much value as humanly possible. The second, and I say this all the time to our team, I'm like, your mother, for maybe not mine, but maybe mine, I don't know. But your mother will not use you to save 20 grand. It's 20 grand. So, when I got the response from the client, like, hey, this is a family friend, they're giving us a really good deal on the commission. Sorry. I'm like, even though, like, clients genuinely don't think we're worth our value because of I just think of how easy it is to navigate a transaction these days. So my point is this: is do not become complacent or comfortable thinking that just because somebody is on autopilot, as you said, coming to your events, you're sending them stuff, you're having conversations with, you talk to them every day, the second they can save a little money, they're going to not use you.
Yep. Well, especially in your market, because if it's a 5 years, you have to renew the loan term. It's like, that sucks.
Yeah.
You're in the back of your mind, you're like, well, I need to save somewhere.
Of course.
And then you're like, well, I Andrew's amazing. I love the guy. But like, we had a third one on the way. We could barely even afford the second one.
That's right.
So what are we going to do here?
And a really good friend of mine, actually, his name's Brady Thrasher. Shout out to Brady. He, is an investor in one of the local restaurants here. 40 Love just opened. Beautiful restaurant if you're in Scottsdale, by the way.
Okay.
And he's from Windsor, Canada. He owns a Remax brokerage there, and then he owns 2 real estate Remax brokerages in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, wow.
And so, he's got like a beautiful like $30 million listing, and he's such a great guy, by the way. But he told me, I said, like, when NAR first happened, I'm like, dude, like, what's this all about? Like, how does this work? He's like, listen, he's like, my really good client, and Brady's a very likable guy.
Yeah.
Because he's so nice. He'll go to bat for you, he'll give you the shirt off his back. Literally, I ordered a Charlie Kirk shirt, and they wouldn't ship it to Canada.
What?
So I had to ship it to his house in Florida. Then he shipped it to me. So he's literally took the shirt, well, maybe not off his back, but off his front porch, and gave it to me. So he even said, he's like, dude, he's like, I just had one of my really good clients who's also like a business associate worth hundreds of millions of dollars say, hey, man, listen, love you, but I'm going to go directly to the listing agent because I don't want to pay you.
Wow.
Right? And yeah, okay. 3% on, 15 million is a big chunk of change.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, these are people that, you do business with, you see their anniversaries, their births, their children's birthdays. And it's no disrespect to you, but if they need to save some money, they're going to save some money.
Yeah, 100%. And some of the most richest people out there, they're penny pinchers.
We all are.
We all are, right? Where's this going? Where's that going? Why? How? What have you? But I can't believe, man, we're already over an hour. This has been freaking. It flew by within like seconds.
Yeah.
And so much to unpack here. I want you all to rewatch the episode because, man, it was spitting fire. And you were like just fast too with it, which is awesome. And I can see why you've had the success that you've had. And where you're at now, doing the keynotes and what have you. So as we do now put bookends on our show, what would you like for our viewers and listeners, as you put, like, I will say, a bow tie on this thing and wrap it up pretty? What would you like the viewers and listeners to take from our show to apply to their business, apply to their life now?
I think ultimately is that whatever value you think you have, I want you to truly look inside you and see how you can become better, because do not take your business for granted. Our business dropped 60% last year.
Whoa.
And, we went from 1.2 million GCI down to 575. And, that wasn't because we lost a lot of clients. It was because the market went down so much.
Yep.
But ultimately, because it went down so much, even our best clients tried to sell themselves. Now you can be self-represented in Canada, similar to NAR. So, they're like, listen, Andrew, I've lost so much equity. I just needed to save as much money as possible. So no matter how good you think you are, you can always be better. And no matter how much you think your clients love you, you can always do better for them as well.
100%. Go deeper. People like to go so wide, but it's like if you just go deeper and stop trying to be everything for everyone everywhere, and you just go into a specific niche, then it makes a huge difference.
That's right.
Congratulations to you, going from that 1-2 down to the 5-5, and just mentally what that could, do to you, or I could say do for you, right? It seems like it lit an even bigger fire to go even harder, to do even more. And I'm right there with you. Lock me down. I'm building a COVID-proof house. You've already walked through the house. I showed you the house, or, doing things to add additional value. No matter how we do it, we're going to do it. So thanks so much, Andrew, for being on.
My pleasure.
All the way from Canada, man. Let's go. Come on. Give the guy a follow. Check him out on social media. He's amazing. To the man behind the camera over here, you said John?
John, yeah.
Johnny boy, I appreciate you. Thanks so much for doing some stuff behind the scenes. We got a mic'd up over here on this mic.
Sir.
Hey, and of course, y'all, thank you so much for watching. Please take what you applied from today, or apply what you learned from today's video. Apply to your business, have more massive success. It's our intention for you to do. Like, subscribe, notification bell if you found any value. Big shout out to Liftoff for the sponsor and the team and staff for doing all the editing and production of this show. And we might have to have this man on round 2, huh?
Yeah, buddy, absolutely.
All right, until the next one. Thanks for tuning in.
Ciao.